continues today. Group D, League B, as Bahamas takes on Antigua and Barbuda. Good afternoon to all of you, wherever you may be, as we dip into a Saturday night Concacaf Nations League action as we look right now at Group D, League B, the standings and where we're at right now with four clubs that are in the middle of all of this as the pitch conditions setting up for just about a perfect day. Temperatures at 90 degrees. Slight chance of rain? Well, slightly chance of rain, 65%. It's been off and on throughout the entire day. Wind blowing out at about 13, 14 miles per hour, but a great deal of humidity. So we anticipate maybe a hydration break at some point in the 25th to 30th minute, and then also overlapping into the second half as well. For these two teams here today colliding, they'll be playing in their third CONCACAF Nations League Group D match. How it has all been set up, Antigua and Barbuda and the Bahamas. So far, they have yet to register a win. Puerto Rico right now is the leader of the pack. Puerto Rico has 6 points. Guyana's got 6 as well, but Puerto Rico has a goal differential of +10 for the Bahamas, and for Antigua and Barbuda, they're at -9, large part because of what happened all the way back on September the 9th, where they got trashed by a final score of 5-1 against Guyana. Teams here today will take the field in a few minutes, but so far we've only had a couple games in CONCACAF Nations League action. Aruba defeated U.S. Virgin Islands by a final score of 3-1. That match ended about 45 minutes ago. And this one, a little bit different of a flair, but for these two teams, they want to get at least one win and try to get a second one eventually down the road. But that's for a later conversation at a different time. The teams will be taking the pitch here in a couple of moments. We'll have the national anthems, the introduction for both these teams, and then we'll eventually get the starters as well. Meanwhile, when you look at Bahamas and Antigua and Barbuda, they've only faced each other once, and that was in the qualifiers, the CONCACAF Nations League action back in 2019-2020. And that was all the way back on October the 12th of 2018. It was a one-sided affair. Antigua and Barbuda won by a score of 6-0. Miles Weston lit it up. He had 3 goals in the affair. In fact, 2 of them were via the penalty in the 12th and 43rd minute. Peter Byers scored in the 15th minute to make that difference even wider than that, and a couple more goals that were tacked on in the second half. But it was all Antigua and Barbuda. So for the Bahamas, trying to get a victory here. If they do so all time, that'll get them to 1-1. But outside of that, this is a brand new year and obviously a brand new skill set with 4 teams in respective Group D. In terms of the overall lifetime, how these teams have fared in CONCACAF Nations League action for the Bahamas, they've played in 12 matches so far, and they've been okay. They have 4 victories, 5 losses, and 3 draws, but they have a negative goal differential of -7. For Antigua and Barbuda, they've played in 14 matches. This will be number 15 here today. They're 6-8. That's it. They don't have any draws just yet, but the biggest problem for them is scoring goals. They have a -20 goal differential. And their top goal scorer all time, DeAndre Bishop, has 3 goals. Junior Benjamin has a pair behind him, along with Miles Weston. As both these teams meeting onto the pitch, Antigua and Barbuda will be in their orange and yellow uniforms today. Those kits will be on one side. I beg your pardon, Antigua and Barbuda will be in the black and red. Bahamas in the orange and yellow, as they've greeted each other at midfield along with the officials. We're going to step aside with the national anthems coming up, and then on the other side, we'll get you the starters for both these clubs. It's Bahamas and Antigua and Barbuda coming up next.
standing for the national anthem of the Bahamas.
And here we go, ready to get things underway. Antigua and Barbuda scoring off for the Bahamas. Each of these teams failing to capture a victory in their first two contests so far. So each team looking to get off the schneid in the worst kind of way and then get themselves in the hunt for Group D League B action to try to catch Puerto Rico if they can. Puerto Rico with the better goal differential, and they also have 6 points. So let's take a peek now at the starters from both ends of this pitch. For the Bahamas first, Michael Butler will be in net here today. Defensive alignment, easy enough to follow along too. They'll go with a 4-3-3, led by head coach Nestle Jean. But Butler on the back side of things with Wilson, Jonathan Miller, and Alex Cartwright, along with Rika Tilo. Forwards up front, got to look out for Amari Bain and also Wood Julmus. Take a look at the officials in the middle of the park. After the Bahamas getting their introductory. Sergio Reyna, William Arrieta, Juan Tipaz, and Julio Luna, the fourth official, helping us out with substitutions, also stoppage time. See how much we get as this day goes along. And it is customary for both clubs to meet at midfield with their captains and also the officials to make this thing official. Do it for the celebratory moments and also to help out with the cause. Social media impacts and whatnot. Antigua and Barbuda on the other side of things. James Scott will be in net today. Take a look at their alignment on the back. They have 6 players listed in the middle of the field, only 2 defenders official with Francois in goal and also Bowery. Kirion Richards, Zafik Drew, Raheem Dieterville, and Dion Pereira. They're in the middle of the pitch. Quentin Griffith, the captain. Javorn Stevens, Joshua Parker also up front. So that's how they'll deploy. Antigua and Barbuda in their dark uniforms today, the black and the red. If you're just joining us, laid out some of the pitch conditions. I mean, the field itself looks absolutely majestic. Soft and comfortable surface, but the temperature is right now about 90 degrees. At least the shade is available right now, and the sun continues to set. So that should simmer things down a little bit. But we'll see and we'll find out later as this game goes along if we'll have any kind of hydration breaks as this contest is now officially underway. Bahamas moving from left to right on your screen. Antigua and Barbuda will be going from right to left, and then they'll flip-flop sides as the halftime gets us to break. Again, when you look at the body of work and where these teams are, for the time being, yeah, of course, at the bottom end of the respective Group D. Antigua and Barbuda got things underway back on September the 9th. Bahamas getting beat up and trounced by Puerto Rico 6-1 in that affair. Each team playing and losing on September the 9th. Bahamas also getting upended by Guyana 3-2 on the 12th. Bramble had it at midfield. Dieterville collects it, and here he is on the attack. Pushing forward, Pereira giving chase on the run. Stevens with a lane, that shot denied by Butler. Butler came well out to challenge. Early threat for Antigua and Barbuda, and it was nullified by Butler. Great stop of the keeper. Well, we witnessed it earlier with Aruba defeating the U.S. Virgin Islands. Keepers made a great deal of difference early on. Pereira back. Bramble, nice move. Bramble with the left foot, the cross. Rebound covered up by Butler. Oh, it was a slight moment where Antigua and Barbuda had a look at target. And Michael Butler on his backside, able to track and locate and keep this match scoreless. Oh, no shortage of inactivity on one end, at least defensively for Antigua and Barbuda, but plenty of action on the offensive side of the ledger. Dieterville. Raheem waiting for reinforcements, tapers it off to Parker. The cross, the header, that finds some twine. In the 3rd minute, Antigua and Barbuda on the board. They lead 1-0. Javon Stevens, the lucky recipient, off a perfect cross. Take a look at this again. Joshua Parker lobbed this thing up perfectly for Stevens, and Stevens in attack mode all the way. Butler had no chance. The outstretched arms, it's 1-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the 2nd minute, a goal for Antigua and Barbuda.
So a good start for Antigua and Barbuda. And you figure in moments like this, it doesn't matter where it happens for either country respectively, but if you get the chances and they do materialize for you, you have to capitalize and bury them. Otherwise, you might get stung and you might be stuck either in a losing side or simply in defeat. Parker springs it out wide. Pereira, the cross, that one rolls in softly from Stevens. Stevens staring at a brace here in less than 60 seconds. Well, if it feels like Bahamas haven't gotten out of the locker room just yet, it's exactly the case. They've been bit. They have not looked good at all. Got to imagine that's rather troubling and upsetting for Nestle Jean as they push forward. But with an effort like this to open up for the Bahamas, I mean, you're staring at 0-3 immediately out of the gate. That is rather troublesome. Dieterville got held up for a moment. Officials will say handball. Although these teams don't have a great deal of experience, you can at least look at the goal differential now, and Antigua and Barbuda +7 against the Bahamas all time. Granted, it's a match plus this. Parker spins it over the right-hand side of Griffith, the captain. Quinton lays off. Back to work, operating Pereira. Trying to make a move around a defender. Can't win it and result in a goal kick. We'll have stats, we'll have highlights, we'll have up-to-date markings at the break. Give you an idea of how this thing is unfolding. Definitely a lot of action here today. This match not the only one in town, although these teams don't care about what anyone else is doing. Antigua and Barbuda quickly with 3 shots in this first half. Already a goal. Javorn Stevens in the 3rd minute. Stevens looking to push forward. Francis Angoul a little bit too hot for him to handle. And it'll roll quickly and away out of bounds. Can hear a lot of the chatter from both clubs and their respective head coaches. We're live here at Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium in Nassau, Bahamas. One of the luxuries that we do get with the hot microphones, we get to pick up the chatter and see exactly what the coaches are talking to their players about. Zaim Scott pushing forward. Parker, right side. That bit, good strike, but Butler, 2 hands on it. Rebound to his right, he'll cover that thing up. Javorn Stevens coming out like a madman early on. He's been the lucky recipient of good creativity from his teammates, and he's staring down the barrel of at least a couple goals in this one, maybe even 3. Antigua and Barbuda, if anything, they have played fast so far. And it's exactly what you want to have, especially in a match like this where neither team has won just yet. But on top of that, the weather today, it's kind of challenging. Kind of challenging just because of the raw heat. Raw heat plus the humidity. It's going to take a lot of that spunk out of your step. And that when that happens as the match goes along, you get a little reckless, a little careless, and sometimes you lose concentration. As the saying goes, fatigue makes cowards of us all. Turnover, Stevens on a clean break. Stevens shoots and he scores! He's got a brace in the 9th minute. Antigua and Barbuda up 2-0. This thing was tailor-made for Stevens. Put that ball right on his foot. It's been a nice move to get past the back line of the Bahamas. 2 quick goals. You see the sidelines working for the Bahamas, getting players up and warmed up. But Antigua and Barbuda coming out of this contest on fire early on. So although they haven't fared well in the goal differential category, Antigua and Barbuda changing things around rather quickly, aren't they? They were -9 heading into this one, losing 6-1. At one point, or excuse me, 5-0 and 5-1. Puerto Rico beating Antigua and Barbuda 5-0 back on September the 12th. You can't take what happened a month ago and immediately think it's going to duplicate 4 weeks later. Not the case. Won't be the case here tonight. So at least one thing, if anything, Antigua and Barbuda have come to play. Julmus can't keep it. These teams are going to get back to work in a couple days from now as well. Oddly enough, even though they're playing today on the 14th, they'll also be playing on Tuesday. Ball given away. Bain was asking for it back, hands it off to Bayless. And now William working with the rest of his teammates. Jonathan Miller there. Therion Wilson here. They're trying to work on a build-up. Dieterville will have none of that. Dieterville, Parker. And a foul, and officials will say, fellas, come back. Parker's got a valid argument right there. He's speaking with Sergio Reyna about it. He doesn't believe there should have been a foul called against Dieterville, but that was the case apparently. See the slow approach for the Bahamas on a run here. Got a couple inside the 18. Joseph was one of them. Marcel asking for it for a moment. Now the Bahamas will have to just recollect. Cartwright here on the chip. Softly played, and there'll be a whistle and a foul. Players colliding and Bramble, the guilty party. And Bahamas got plenty of time to wake up and get this thing right, but trailing less than 10 minutes into the contest doesn't bode too well. 1-0 is one thing, but 2-0 is another. Got 6 players for Bahamas near the 18. Let's see how Bayless delivers this. Line drive, poorly placed. Oddly enough, he had Cartwright on the right wing by his lonesome. Didn't want to look for him. Errant pass that was intended for Stevens. Possible numbers. Parker. More pressing for Antigua and Barbuda. Stevens already with the brace, and now we got a free kick just outside the box. Now they keep pressing, and they put the onus on the officials as Safik Drew got taken out. Drew drawing the foul. Joseph on the guilty side of it. He knew it. He didn't offer much of a argument. Now the question is who takes this free kick and where is it placed? If you're looking for Stevens, he's near the top of the box. Richards is near him. Stevens with 2 goals in a matter of 6 minutes. Can he get a hat trick here? We shall wait, we shall see. Played through softly, the header. Parker just missed. Parker didn't miss that thing by that much. Only by a couple inches. Getting an update too in real time as kickoff was at 9 degrees. Temperature, while at 90, humidity is at 69% as Bayless was taken out. Nice play by Stevens. Playing extremely well. You know, it's one thing for Stevens to act like a front runner, right? Where you're just the lucky recipient of some quality passes. But he's been playing well without the ball, been moving around, creating, passing, in passing lanes against Bahamas. But everybody from a tactical position for Antigua and Barbuda, they have played on their front foot. Pereira, nice stutter go. Good spot, moving around, taken away though by Joseph, and now they spring loose and forward. Could have a break here. Odd man rush, Julmus taken out. This should result in a booking. And wow, nothing called. Fells will play on as Sergio Reyna has swallowed his whistle. That's unbelievable. Nice chip, Dieterville. Dieterville runs out of real estate. Looking for Stevens, back to Parker. Bramble had that ball depossessed. Nice job by Bayless. Back in a run again here, but Scott well out of his cage, comes back to insert himself. Heads up by the keeper too. One thing for Bahamas being down 2-0, they've had a couple of jailbreak passes. Julmus has been on the receiving end of one of them, taken out on the play. Second one nullified because of Scott, the keeper. Parker on the left-hand side. Dieterville try to squeeze that thing into a tight spot. And now a delicate proposition for Bahamas. They're just trying to slow this thing down to a slow trot and matriculate down the field to get a goal. First off, they need a shot. Scott had this thing in no man's land, so just punches it away. See how Cartwright delivers this throw-in. Antigua and Barbuda, transition game. Parker. If you're just joining us, Javorn Stevens with 2 goals. Open up the contest in the 3rd minute with a strike. And then on a breakaway against Michael Butler, who had no chance on it from the top of the box in the 9th minute. That brace has given Antigua and Barbuda a 2-0 advantage. Ooh, 2 players colliding for Antigua and Barbuda. That is what we call friendly fire in that instance, as we'll revert back to it. Francis Angol was the one that delivered the shot. Oh. Daniel Bowery. He is down and he is not getting up. That's tough. A little bit different if you're taking some of that trauma from the opposition, but when you do it from your own teammate, ooh, makes it even worse of a feeling, right? Francis Angol trying to mind his surroundings, and unfortunate enough in that instance, Got a little beat up on the play. "22nd minute. Bowery appears to be okay. Bayless. And now we got one player down for Bahamas. On the right side of our screen, make it two. One of them for Antigua Barbuda. Is that Quentin Griffith? That is the case. Quentin down. Wood Julmus also down. They appear to be okay. So it looks like, if we're guessing for a moment, Julmus's back head hit the eye of Quentin Griffith. And anytime there's trauma above the shoulders, coaches, trainers, and officials will always err on the side of caution. We did not get a look at it. But both fellas appear to be okay now. And we'll get back to ball. And it just felt like smooth sailing in this match. And then all of a sudden, chaos broke out. Couple fouls, couple collisions. And now people are scrambling about. Pushing forward. Nice heel kick, Bain. Bain with the punch. That one hit a body in front. Might have hit Raika Tilo. Bowery was also there marking it. Fans voicing their pleasure. Francis in goal. Good hesitation. Scott, who in some trouble, just gets that ball away. Dangerously close to a turnover and a mishap. As we pivoted our way into the 26th minute. We'll have stats, and we'll have some highlights of this opening 45. Pace is certainly dialed down a little bit. Probably in large part because of the injuries that were taking place. But all in all, Antigua Barbuda, I don't want to say they're comfortable with the lead, but they're definitely playing with a lower sense of urgency. But part of this is just flow and rhythm. And the other part could be Bahamas have actually woken up. Miller sprung forward. That ball's going to be played offside. Goal will not count. Julmus putting it into the net, but while Scott doesn't like that, it won't count anyway. Julmus been leaking on that back line of Antigua Barbuda. Trying to gain an edge, if anything, on the defense. But Bahamas yet to field the shot just yet. And for all intents and purposes, they have done a rather poor job of creating. Shots right now, 6-0 in favor of Antigua Barbuda. That ball lobbied around, poorly displayed, and Butler had to do work himself. Griffith back. Quinton didn't draw any blood when he had made contact on the back of the head of Julmus. You see the score being at 2-0 Antigua and Barbuda. 2-0, pretty good indication as far as how well they've fared, but 6 shots to none. And then on top of that, the one head scratcher is the possession. It's labeled as 50-50 right now, but by no means does it feel like that. Dieterville, the cross, hustling. Pereira. Bayless should have gotten to that ball, laid off. Bramble here. Parker. Parker had the right idea. Good job by Wilson, though, to attack him and close the lane. Brain, Bahamas looking for that pass, looking for Bain, but wow, that was just way too much gas on that for Bain to even get to it. That ball was so far out in front. Bain looked at it go by him by a good 20 yards. Bayless just waiting for that thing to eventually come down. We imagine there'd be a more offensive output here today than defensive prowess. It's been at least the case for Antigua and Barbuda, but the negative goal differential, didn't know how it would materialize. Pereira. I think the one thing that's also needs to be celebrated with the way that Antigua and Barbuda has played is their defensive prowess. They put a lot of pressure on the ball. Bahamas don't have much time to even navigate and develop any kind of buildup. They can't go from their end of the field into the attacking third. There's just no gaps. So we can watch this kind of setup for Bahamas, but everything's been on the back line. Watch out here. More of it. Stevens just couldn't get to that ball, but Bramble had it for a moment. Careless foul. Francis saying goal. Didn't need to take that one. It would have been apparent for Raming to be knocked out of bounds. Pausing the action. There was a player down for Bahamas. Didn't get a number on it. Shockingly enough, no hydration breaks at all. As now we've reactivated. Furion Wilson was the one that was down. And he'll return here in a moment. Looks to be okay, though. Not even walking around or shaking it out. Julmus tried to get to it. He couldn't. Nice play. Bowery. Dieterville. It looked like it might have gone off the foot of Raming. That was exactly the case.
From the sideline.
35th minute. As we draw closer to 45, we'll take a look at the fourth official. See how much stoppage time is allotted. If we had to guess, we would say 6 minutes of stoppage time. But that is just a guess. Stevens with a goal in the 3rd minute and the 9th. Michael Butler's made a couple of nice stops for Bahamas. Zaim Scott in net for Antigua Barbuda. He hasn't been challenged too much, which is a good thing. Shots right now for Antigua Barbuda. Six to 1 as it stands. Oddly enough, even with the score and the way that it's been set up, possession 52% to 48 for Antigua Barbuda. Players again colliding. Bayless is down on the floor. Trying to be helped up nicely by Griffith, but no chance here. He could be the judge of this contact. Fellas back to action. Been pretty choppy in the first 45 minutes of action. Some highlight plays. Some other situations were just stuck in mud. And for Bahamas, they need to wake up. They've had to work through a couple flurries and got stung twice. They do announce the yellow card for Griffith. Parker. Stevens inside the 18. Francis Angola able to hold possession of Richards. Right wing. Griffith with a chip. Stevens, Pereira. Left-hand side, Dieterville. It's the kind of buildup that we saw early on. Parker, everyone stopped playing. Left-hand side, Dieterville takes the shot. Angle just spinning away with all that English. Drew, Kratos. 39th minute. Parker again, head up all the way. Should be a decent amount of changes at the break for Bahamas. Got a full array of weapons too at their disposal when they go to their bench. Same thing for Antigua and Barbuda. Francis in goal. Spotlighted around Griffith. He gets taken out. Officials ruled the case. Fans in attendance not happy about the call from Sergio Reyna. Members of the pitch for Bahamas voicing the displeasure. Griffith could do a couple things with this. You see a small wall in front of him, but he can snap it. He does. That shot in goal. Butler with a nice stop. No rebound. Well, you think about that shot from Griffith, where it came from. You put enough steam on it, but you need to have more bend to it. Pick a corner, any corner. Ooh, Parker thought he got away with one. Not the case. He did it right in front of the head official. Parker and Bayless mixing it up. We creep closer to the end of this first half. Teams will also be playing on Tuesday, so they get some time to rest. They'll go right back to work. Parker Pereira with that spin. Good shot by Butler, though. He smuggled that one out. Well, the anticipation from the keeper was eerily apparent. Butler moving from left to right before that shot even came. Butler had been woken up early in this contest, and he has stayed on high alert. 43rd minute. Steal here. Possible numbers. The 3-on-2. Make it 3-0 Antigua Barbuda. Will give away a steal. And another dagger into the heart of Bahamas. This time, Thomas James Bramble extending the lead to a 3-goal margin. Look at the lazy passing here, and then the takeaway. Great job by Bramble to depossess, and Butler had no chance on it. Antigua Barbuda playing like a runaway freight train right now. They have been awesome. So Bramble's goal coming here in the 42nd minute. Cartwright. And we've seen some one-sided tilts in Concacaf Nations League action. This thing is dangerously close to duplicating that. You know, one team came to play, the other one did not. The one saving grace, if anything, for Bahamas is at least halftime will be here shortly. A little give and go action, not yet. Corner kick. That thing was rather poor from Dieterville, putting it mildly. I think never had a chance to do anything. Far side official was going to indicate offside in the play. We'll be back here at the end of this first half with some highlights. It's been all one-sided, so Antigua Barbuda going to own the highlights. Bahamas, all they have to show for it's Michael Butler and net. That's it. And mercifully, this first half has drawn to a close. So Antigua Barbuda jumped all over Bahamas quickly. Javorn Stevens with a goal in the 3rd minute. got the brace in the 9th minute. Thomas James Bramble, an intercept, a takeaway, and a goal. His first in the 42nd minute. At the end of 45 minutes of play, Antigua Barbuda stick to a 3-0 lead over Bahamas. We'll be back. Second half is officially underway. Antigua and Barbuda moving from left to right on your screen. Bahamas going from right to left. Antigua and Barbuda clearly outclassing Bahamas today. Beating them up pillar to post. 3-0 is a score. But the margin should be much wider than that. Shots in the first half, 8-1 in favor of Antigua and Barbuda. They led by a narrow margin in terms of possession, 51-49. But the other element that they've been pretty crisp at has just been controlling the game. They haven't overextended defensively, and the same breath, they put a lot of pressure on the back line of Bahamas. End result, 3-0 lead. For Bahamas, no changes yet. This one played through. Nicely done, though, at least on the back line by Wilson. Butler came out, but didn't need to. As far as changes that you're looking at for Bahamas, it might need to be wholesale player changes. Just because they have not done anything right. And the energy isn't there. They have not played with a level of passion and spunk. Ooh, thought of a fourth goal being developed there. Parker couldn't complete the act. Bahamas living dangerously. The ball intercepted. Parker just with a misstep, but you can see the reaction on his face looking up to the heavens. Unfortunate for him. Nice job, Drew. Drew not getting cheated at all, as Joseph was on his backside. A lot of juice. Here's Drew again. Anticipating. Nice job with the right foot. Raikatilo to get in front of that. First corner kick of the second half for either squad. Pereira will take it here. Dion, pretty good service. Butler punches it up. Loose, bobbled around, vacated net. Butler pounces on it. Dude's been active. And he has been the one saving grace for Bahamas today. Otherwise, this thing would be an absolute laugher. I mean, it's not funny, but Butler has done his part. And everybody else is looking for some life. Been an interesting game. Down to his knees is Griffith, the captain. Wearing the captain's armband today. Here's Parker. Parker want to give and go. Nifty pass in the backside. That cross nullified at the last moment. The creativity is certainly there in Francis Angol. Not giving up on the play. Reading it all the way in unison with Joshua Parker. Magnificent effort. Header knocked away by Butler, looked like. Almost acted like his hand was caught in the cookie jar for a moment. But he's all good. First substitution of the night. It's going to go to Bahamas. Nathan Wells coming into the affair. I'll replace Philion Wilson. More of an outcome. Butler sees that thing screaming past him. Fortunate enough, that ball was not on target. Otherwise, he would have been beat. Stevens looking for the hat trick.
Gentlemen, the 52nd minute, substitution for Bahamas, number 19, Nathan Wells, goes off the field and replaces number 3, Byron Wilson.
Bahamas looking to get one back. Pereira to Parker. Parker playing inspiringly well throughout. Nice takeaway there. Pereira. A lot of congestion here in the middle of the park. Pereira picking himself up, but still, all in all, you're looking for more offensively from Bahamas than on the defensive side. Drew with a long throw in. Stevens. Drew. Parker asking for it. He's near the spot. Stevens on the right-hand side. He's a good 5 feet, maybe 10 feet offside. So he'll have to revert back. Nice move on the angle. Stevens, Pereira looking for his second. One move, a second one, that shot blocked on the way through. Fans for Bahamas at least still engaged in this contest while their team down 3-0. Good effort, at least in this second half from Bahamas defensively. First half, we saw a great deal of a breakdown every which way. And frankly, they weren't competitive. Stevens still looking for the hat trick. Goal in the 3rd minute, goal in the 9th minute. Bayless down. 59th minute. Feels like it's just a mere formality, doesn't it? Pereira. A little stop and go action. Nice move. Pereira walking that line around Miller. The cross. This punch from out, hit a body in front, it just missed. Dieterville, who had a pretty good pivot with his left foot, had that thing almost shank off of a body from a member in the back line of Bahamas and past Michael Butler. That would have been just more salt in the wound. Awfully close to offside. Parker was a good foot or two offside, but then that ball didn't come to him fast enough. Bodied around, played through. Julmus spilled down. Bahamas going to try at least eventually to work up tempo if they have any thought of making this game competitive. But all in all, if you're looking at Antigua and Barbuda, they've just sat in this second half and played controlled style ball, moving it from sideline to sideline, up and down the pitch. On the back line, Julmus trying to apply some pressure, and he does. Julmus with an absolute rocket going top shelf. Bahamas on the board. They trail here in the 62nd minute, 3-1. Well, he had been threatening so much in the first half to get possession behind the back line. In that moment there, he finally delivered. Nicely placed ball by Marcel Joseph to Julmus, who went top shelf, and Scott had no chance. So nice shot. And it's now 3-1. Julmus from Joseph. Players voicing the displeasure. Joseph looking at his sideline. Coaches can't help you on that call. Offside. Was eventually going to be called, right? Middle of the park. Bahamas doing at least more in the middle of the field. Looked like we had one guy that was down for Bahamas, but not the case. Now we got two substitutions for Antigua and Barbuda. First ones of the contest for them. Siobhan Phillip coming into the affair. Shaylon Knight as well. Joshua Parker is done for the day, and Parker was awesome. Can't speak highly enough for his efforts, playmaking ability, and the quality that he possessed while being on the ball a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And Javorn Stevens, who is now also out of the ball game. Stevens leaves with 2 goals. His second would prove to be the game-winning goal. Ooh, this could result in a booking. Let's see if that's the case. That's exactly it for Drew. Zafik, he went studs up, didn't he? See, right about here. Two changes for Bahamas in this instance. William Gardner comes in. Ricardo McPhee also inserted into the contest. Those are your 2 changes for Bahamas. So 2 for each side. The 68th minute. Well, at least for Bahamas, they've fared much better in this second half than all of the first. Bahamas trying to circulate back the other way. Be rather curious if the Bahamas can get another goal here, make things tight in the second half. Make sure you stay with us at the end of this contest. We'll have full-time stats, highlights, all that and then some. Nicely played away at the last moment. Same for the error who got taken out there. '71st minute, and still got players coaching each other up. We look at this situation here with Francis Angol chopping it up with Dieterville. Played a lot more on their front foot in the opening 45 minutes, but here in the second half, I don't want to say they've taken their foot off the gas, Sergio Reyna, the lead official, directing some traffic right now. Transition game here for Bahamas. Nearly had a 2-on-1, but that was broken up nicely because of the speed from Griffith. So the captain will show you. Nice stutter. Joseph walking that goal line. The cross, the header didn't materialize on net, but still an opportunity looms. We'll wait and see. Slight chip from the back line, and Bahamas, they've found the extra gear now. It was just a matter of time. Rami got pushed off that ball, but not hard enough that the official, Sergio Reyna, would call a foul. Get a bird's eye shot from Pereira, right? Ooh, and some agony there. Joseph and Bayless beside themselves. I don't know what Drew's coming over for. No valid argument for him. Things have gotten a bit choppy. Pereira down on the deck. Well, it's Bramble, I beg your pardon. It looked like simultaneous action with the ball, not necessarily the player. Good precision, at least in the first half, and Antigua and Barbuda really haven't played a complete game. Ooh, this should result in a penalty, and they point to the spot That's exactly the case, as it was earned by Dieterville. Dieterville had an extra gear in him. He was taken out. The end result is a penalty. Now, admittedly, Dieterville sold it. He got plenty of airtime on that. He was launched. And it looks like the captain, Quentin Griffith, will take this. Griffith will put this game to bed with a goal against Michael Butler. Fells will lock up here in the 77th minute. Griffith trying to put this thing to rest. He shoots and he scores. Top shelf, no chance by Michael Butler on his attempt. Guessed right, couldn't reach it. 4-1, that's the dagger. And you have to feel bad for Butler. He has fared poorly in this contest, but he has had great effort. And that ball didn't miss by much, right? You think about his fingertips and where he extended out to. He guessed right. He's been like that all evening long. It's just a lot of the shots that have gotten past him, too much velocity. So Griffith's goal, break in the back now, Bahamas. Scott, for some unknown reason, coming out of his net. I don't know why a keeper would need to be that far out. That cross going weakly on. Kieran Richards down for a moment, not getting up. Interesting enough, with Richards going down like that, there was a sizable delay between the action stopping and him going down. And you got 6 people tending to Richards. I didn't think it looked that serious. But hopefully he's okay.
Let's go, guys.
81st minute here. And Butler just climb up for it.
Yes, he's coming there. Okay.
Antigua Barbuda with a couple more changes. Vishami Allen coming in. Tyreek Tong also coming in as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, substitution in the 81st for Antigua Barbuda. Number 3, the shot goes in for number 4, Richards, and number 17, Tyreek Tong, replaces number 9, Dion Pereira.
So Pereira's day is over with. Pereira was excellent. Feels like everybody for Bahamas was under siege at one moment or another, and Pereira was leading a lot of the attack. At the conclusion of this match, we'll have full-time highlights and a final look at the numbers. But as you can imagine with the score, it's going to be all Antigua and Barbuda, barring a major collapse. Keep in mind these two teams will play again on Tuesday. If you're just joining us, Javorn Stevens, who was subbed out, had a brace in the first half. Goal in the 3rd minute, goal in the 9th minute. Thomas James Bramble in the 42nd, and then Quentin Griffith on a penalty in the 77th minute scored. Wrong foot with that on Tom. Look at this chance here, developing. Tongwa pulls the trigger. That shot denied. That was Dieterville, I beg your pardon. 7 not 17. A little bit off angle on that. Played through again nicely, the header. That one inserted perfectly too by Drew. Mentioned Aruba beating up on the U.S. Virgin Islands earlier today, 3-1. In this contest, while it's 4-1, shots in the affair 10-2 in favor of Antigua and Barbuda. Sergio Reyna calling for the medical crew to come out immediately. So we got players dropping like flies for Antigua and Barbuda, and this time Raheem Dieterville coming off. The severity of these injuries, you might think, is rather large when you look at the player going off via the stretcher, but neither player that came off, Dieterville now, Richards before, it looked like they were too distressed. Interesting. 89th minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the 88th minute, substitutions for Antigua Barbuda. Number 15, Carl Osborne, replaces
Carl Osborne announced into the affair. He'll close this thing out. So Dieterville, obviously his day is over with Osborne in for him. So a grand total of 4 substitutions. 90th minute. And we'll see what Julio Luna provides us with stoppage time. But 2 players for Antigua and Barbuda exit stage right on a stretcher. They're just playing this thing out now. Wood Julmus with the only marker for Bahamas. They had 2 flurries that lasted right around that 60 to 75th minute mark. Lopez will come in now for Julmus. So Nicholas will be entering here in a moment. Outside of that, that shot turned out to be a rainmaker that sails over the net by Joseph. Substitution here.
in the 89th minute, ladies and gentlemen, a substitution for Bahamas. Number 17, replaces number 9, Wood Julmus.
Looks like we get 4 minutes of stoppage time added to this contest. Assuming nothing else changes, right? Foul being called there. Let's see if Bramble takes this free kick. Might be a decent spot to take one towards target. We'll see. Bramble will actually peel back now, so Griffith will be on it. Griffith making this thing 4-1. Tongue off a body. The header being earmarked for that left-hand side. It misses by that much. You see the expression from Bramble, who was looking for a brace. Let's see if there's another chain. Doesn't look to be that way. We're in stoppage time right now. Antigua Barbuda up 4-1 over Bahamas. These teams again will play on Tuesday. Puerto Rico back to work as well on Tuesday night. These teams will play at 3:30 and 4 o'clock respectively Eastern time. Nathan Wells. Time winding down this contest. We have stoppage time that's going on right now. Apologize for the technical difficulties. Antigua Barbuda leading 4-1 over Bahamas. And they're just playing this thing out. And that'll do it. This thing has come to a conclusion. Antigua and Barbuda capturing their first victory in Group D League B action. They win here today by a convincing score of 4-1 over Bahamas.
And the Bahamas Football Association, we would like to extend a grateful thanks to all of the supporters who turned out today. We wish you a safe journey home.
Well, it was just the second ever encounter between these two squads. Antigua and Barbuda getting on the scoreboard early with Stevens. That header in the 3rd minute. gave them the 1-0 advantage. They really never looked back. Second time they met Bahamas, and the first time they beat them up by a score of 6-0. Here today it was not really different either. They won this affair 4-1 was the final. Everybody that started for Antigua and Barbuda did exactly what they wanted to do here today. They were efficient, they were strong on the ball, they possessed it a lot. And on top of that, were extremely creative. 4 goals being scored, one of them via the penalty. But Javorn Stevens with the brace, goals in the 3rd and in the 9th minute. The one marker was Wood Julmas, who scored in the 62nd minute. It's a nice shot from Julmas to break the shutout string. In fact, that shutout string lasted 152 minutes when you look at how these two teams played a few years ago, and Griffith there going top shelf against Michael Butler. Extend the advantage to 4-1. Earlier, Stevens' second goal in the first half, that occurred in the 9th minute. I feel like that really broke the back of Bahamas, because that goal signified pretty much how the entire day would go. The capper there by Bramble in the 42nd minute. And that was all she wrote. 4-1 was the final score. Backline for Bahamas, rather poor. And a lot of pressing by Antigua and Barbuda. And it was unfortunate. Michael Butler, for all that got past him, he wasn't bad. Just unfortunate for him. But hope you enjoyed this one. Both these teams will get back together on Tuesday night, 3:30 Eastern. Antigua and Barbuda and Bahamas. Round number 2, Concacaf Nations League action, Group D, League B. We'll see you again here in a few days from now. Hope you enjoyed this one. Have a good night.